1853. After growing up across the frontiers of the American Midwest, Andrew Taylor Still began a medical apprenticeship under the instruction of his father, Abram, a physician and minister well known for raising a few eyebrows during his sermons. A.T. Still, a firebrand in his own right, would eventually settle in Kirksville, Missouri, and wore many hats during a life of service to his community. Not only was he a practicing MD, he was a soldier, a politician, an inventor, and an educator in several capacities. But in 1874, after fully recognizing how poor the prevailing medical philosophies of those times were, A.T. Still, the D.O., would make his greatest contribution to the community, the country, and the world by formulating the basic principles of osteopathy and becoming the founder of osteopathic medicine.
He was the kind of guy that was a bit off the beaten path. He didn't like he didn't like accolades. He wasn't one that wanted to be in the limelight. He much preferred to be walking through the woods, to be climbing a tree, to carry around his bag of bones and run into a stranger on the courthouse square.
And I think that's why he has so many disciples in the profession of osteopathic health care. And they see a person they can relate to and want to emulate being an honest, truthful, and helping person. That's why he's a worldwide phenomenon. Every language, every culture and country can relate to the ideals that Dr. Still fostered in patient care.
He was very humble, and he was interested more than anything else in the welfare of the patient. And that is a good example for us today.
He was always giving everything he had and without thought of himself. And I think that is what truly earns a person respect.
Once you understand where he came from and why he changed the philosophy and developed this, then you'll really appreciate osteopathic medicine and what it stood for. And he always said to his students, keep it pure. He didn't like medicine, he didn't like surgery back in the day because it seemed to cause more harm than good, and treat the patient. Don't just give him medicine, don't just do surgery on him.
140 years later, on April 16th of 2014, the Missouri House of Representatives would properly honor Dr. Andrew Taylor Still, D.O., for his influence on the practice of medicine with an induction into the Hall of Famous Missourians.
This is a proud moment in the history of our profession to see our founder, A.T. Still, publicly recognized. He's always been recognized and celebrated for his contribution to our model of care and to the contribution of care to the public as a whole. But it is fantastic to see such public acknowledgement of his contributions.
First, I think it's long overdue. Dr. Still, for his legacy of what he's brought this whole entire world, to recognize him here in Missouri as a famous Missourian is something that even speaks louder to the heritage that I walk on, the heritage that I practice every day.
Well, I think it validates a lot of what our students and faculty and staff do, that it's recognized at this level. And so I think with that, there's pride that comes with it. I think a renewed interest. Perhaps we all try a little harder because of the recognition. So it has a very positive effect.
The Missouri Association of Osteopathic Physicians and Surgeons, MAOPS, was founded in 1897 as the first divisional affiliate of the American Osteopathic Association. And in 2014, MAOPS played a crucial role in directing the effort to secure A.T. Still's legacy among Missouri's many famous sons and daughters. This induction was especially significant because it was the first done by popular vote.
We had noticed that A.T. Still was not recognized in the Hall of Famous Missourians, and we thought, what better person to put in this, founder of a huge profession that's growing, makes up 20% of our physicians in the United States. Started delving into the process a little bit and realized that the process had been, in the past, fairly arbitrary. The Speaker of the House got to choose who they wanted, and this year the Speaker decided to open it up to a vote.
When they actually had the nomination available, we were able to work with the Missouri Osteopathic Medical Association to get information out to our DOs and students throughout the state. We utilized social media. We had lots of visibility as we tried to encourage people to vote, and clearly they did. They took off and let the world know that osteopathic medicine is here to stay, and we owe so much to A.T. Still.
I was shocked that a person like Dr. A.T. Still had never been considered before. I mean, here's a fella who is a Missourian who created an entire discipline of healthcare and medicine. Remarkable. The father of osteopathic medicine had never been put into the hall. So there's a lot of events that go on up here in the capital city every year, and this was one of the largest outpourings of support I have seen, and it came from so many different areas. It was from family members, many descendants. It was from osteopathic physicians from Missouri, beyond Missouri, and some international doctors showed up as well. It was an incredible amount of diverse support, and it really it made me feel good that I had truly chosen someone who was extremely popular, who apparently was waiting to be honored, and they filled the galleries and they filled the Capitol today with their support.
The bust will forever sit in the halls of the Missouri State Capitol in the company of other American legends like Mark Twain, Harry Truman, and Walt Disney.
You know, even though he had several statues made of his likeness, I feel like he was such a humble and modest person that he would appreciate it for what it was, but I don't think that it would necessarily be something that he'd go gaga over. But I've tried to convey this heroic nature of him. And like I said, I don't know if that's something that was apparent on the surface in real life with him. Inside is the A.T. Still that I want to convey. Like what is really, you know, what do I see when I look at him? I see a very heroic person who did something tremendous with their life.
Dr. Still did great things for people because it was right, and so I think by actually now having his bust there, people that haven't heard about this great Missourian, this is an opportunity to get his name out there, and I'm really pleased that he was recognized by the people and then the Speaker of the House.
Dr. Still founded the American School of Osteopathy in Kirksville, Missouri, which graduated the first class of DOs in 1894, 16 men, 5 women. Today, there are over 23,000 medical students studying to become DOs at the 30 colleges of osteopathic medicine across the country, including 2 in the state of Missouri, KCUMB in Kansas City and A.T. Still University at the site of the original in Kirksville.
Actually, now more than ever, the osteopathic profession is well positioned to impact healthcare in this country. Roughly 25% of medical students today are osteopathic medical students. So the profession has had a profound growth over the last 20 years and is impacting access to care in a way that Dr. Still only dreamed of.
I think it's really important that our students participate in the events surrounding this week, either at the Capitol or here on campus, because I think as participating and understanding the rich heritage of our profession and understanding the history and their role in the future of the DO profession is really critical for them, and it really helps give them an opportunity to celebrate their choice.
I think the best thing for them to take away is the understanding that one person can make a difference. Here you had Andrew Taylor Still back in the 19th century, who developed a philosophy and a system of medicine that has been inculcated into all of healthcare. But what I would hope one of them or 2 of them or all of them would take away from this today is that one of them can make a difference as healthcare continues to develop and evolve. And they can be the next Andrew Taylor Stills, the next young woman or young man that can affect a change in modern healthcare.
I think once again, when students see someone that they're following honored in this way, it inspires them to do big things. And perhaps even just a trip down to the Capitol, they'll think about, wow, how could I serve beyond just the physician's role? You know, could I someday help influence how laws are made? Could I help influence how policy is done? So it has an effect more than just on the healthcare thoughts of students.
A.T. Still's legacy as an innovator of medical practice now has a public reminder of how significant his achievements were. But his reach will always be measured by the work of generations of osteopathic physicians here in Missouri and around the world.
I mean, medicine's changing as we speak, and who knows what's going to be the future of medicine, but the basic philosophies that he taught will still hold true in the future. You treat the whole person, treat the person as a unit. He was very much into mechanics, machinery, and he would look at that and say, a machine works well as long as all parts are working. If one part's not working, the machine will fail.
He actually made a quote about he lived to see the success of osteopathic medicine throughout the world. And I know he said that, you know, when I started this, I was just looking for truth, but I never thought it'd turn out so grand. And it really is wonderful. So it's great that he actually lived to see his success after persevering for so long. And yeah, he did, I think, have a feeling of achievement and success, and that it was great because it will help other people.
This is the greatest profession in the world. You touch people's lives in more ways that you can even begin to imagine. And what a wonderful opportunity it is to be able to give that gift.
It's a real validation to his original vision of how we should look at health and disease and how patients should be treated. The humanistic piece, the holistic piece, the search for health instead of disease. These were all A.T. Still's vision, and we carry them forward. After 140 years, they're still strong, they're still vibrant. And this is a real tribute to our profession, to our movement, and to all that follow his teachings. This is a wonderful moment in our history, and I'm proud to be a part of it.